And on this call, I wanted to specifically speak about what rest and self-care is. So this is kind of like redefining rest and self-care. If you are struggling, you already know kind of like what rest and self-care used to look like, or maybe it still does. And so I wanted to kind of talk about this because I think that this is a big part of healing as we move through not just overcoming a chronic illness, but to thriving again, what actually rest looks like. There's nothing wrong with struggling, guys. We're all going to struggle at various times on our healing journey, even if you could be years in, like Josh and I will say, sometimes we still struggle, whether that's, a virus flares up. Like I just got a virus last week, that kind of caused a little bit of a flare up and some symptoms or stressful events or these things. So this is where it's important to continually do the work. But these things can kind of creep up at any time. You could be going down a great path, doing all the healing work, and then you could be smacked back down. And it doesn't necessarily mean you've done anything wrong, but we want to talk about how to navigate these times, whether those are your days all the time right now, or whether you've kind of shifted to, maybe you have 20% decent days or 30% decent days, or maybe it shifted 50-50, or maybe on like mine and Josh's end, maybe it's more than 50-50. Like I feel like my good days to bad day ratio is probably like 80-20 now, or maybe even more than that. But I still have rough days, and it did not happen overnight. It was a gradual and slow thing. So, as we know, we're going to go through some rough days, rough weeks. And at the beginning, it may be rough months. You may not have any good days. You may just be trying to get through the next day and just holding on, hoping that things are going to shift. They will shift when you do the healing work. But specifically, I wanted to talk about self-care, rest, and things like that, even when you are very, very symptomatic. A big part of healing from a chronic illness is breaking the pattern in which you used to exist in from rest and self-care. And I think we haven't talked a lot about that. Maybe it's probably been a couple months, but there needs to be a shift in what that looks like. And then we're going to talk about how to do the healing work when you are in more of a symptomatic state and you are flaring a little bit more. But first, specifically, guys, rest. Rest. What is rest? Well, we all think about rest as I just got to lay down. I got to lay down here on the couch, or I just got to take it easy. Um, that's probably not what you need. And I'm going to tell this, and I'm not saying that's not what you need. Like you do need to chill and have downtime, but what you more need rest from is the brain, the mental rest. Because you can be chilling all you want. You can be sitting on that couch, you can be laying in bed and causing yourself to be more in fight or flight because your brain is thinking about, oh my God, everything's going wrong. Oh my God, what if this lasts? Oh my God, this symptom hasn't been around in a while. This symptom creep back up. And so that physical rest that we often sometimes think we need is actually harming us even more because it's giving you more time to focus on everything that's going wrong and everything that could go wrong and all that sort of stuff. And so there needs to be a balance, guys. And this is what I want to talk about because while you're going through this journey, the brain is going to try to tell you and dictate what to do, and your old ways are going to try to dictate and tell you what you think you need to do and all this stuff to heal. And it's our job to understand that that's our body trying to protect us. It's a safety mechanism. It's not actually the truth. Sometimes, and I think me and Josh talked about this earlier. Sometimes you could be feeling rough, whether that's physical symptoms or whatever. And when you get out of your house and you actually engage in life and you sometimes even do physical things, whether that's go for a walk or, get out in nature, or sometimes for me, like doing yoga, qigong, or even in my case, when I go to the gym, it actually helps me feel better. So sometimes your body is actually lying to you when it's like, hey, symptoms are louder today. Just stay in, rest, chill. Sometimes when you actually do the opposite and you show your body safety through action, you're actually going to feel better. Now, this isn't a a rule. Sometimes you will feel a little bit worse, and sometimes you do need to actually, have rest, especially is as you're navigating healing and you've been kind of sedentary for a little while, and as you get going, the body is going to take some time to respond to that. So you have to be patient with yourself, but you also need to understand that as you get going on this healing journey, there are going to be some challenges that arise that are going to, you're going to have to recognize that you're not going to go back to the old way of this is a tough day. Let me lay in bed and watch Netflix and sit on my phone all day and dopamine scroll and then think about my symptoms. That is not rest. That is not self-care. That is actually causing you to get sicker. And I really think that that's an important understanding, guys. This is where we have to cultivate and build healthier habits. And if you have to stay inside, like today for me, it's it's so windy out right now. I would love to be outside more, but it's so windy out and it's about to storm this evening. So I'm kind of like stuck inside a little bit. Um, so this is where you have to build healthier habits even when you are inside, so that you don't just go, and sit there and doom scroll and focus on stuff. Like rest and self-care is still doing some of the healing work, guys. It's still putting on that visualization in the morning. It's putting on that yoga or qigong practice that we have in our guide. That's still rest and self-care, but it's in a way where you do it that's going to help you actually heal. Now, there are times when you're going to be more like physically symptomatic and you need to go slow, and that's fine. That's fine. We don't ever want you guys to push. It's never like, yo, go to the gym, go run a marathon, go do all this stuff. Like you can listen to your body still, but you need to understand that, you know, the old way of rest doesn't serve you anymore. There's a new way of rest. One where you're still taking action, but you're doing it in a self-nourishing way that actually helps you heal. For me, when I'm more symptomatic, when I'm dealing with more symptoms and I'm kind of more in a flare, this is where I prioritize my self-care even more so. And when I'm talking about self-care, it's like I move slower. I take it a little bit more easy, but I still do all of the healing work. So I'll put on that meditation or that visualization that we have in our guide, and I'll do it and take it slow. And then after that, I'll put on like maybe it's just like, yo, I just need a yin yoga practice or something like that that's just like slow stretching for like 30 minutes. And I just nourish that. I'm not on my phone. I'm just putting technology aside. Or maybe it's like right before this call, maybe like a half an hour, I just went and sat in my backyard because it's kind of windy, so I didn't go to like my park. Just sat in my backyard, took my shoes off. I did some like box breathing rounds and just chilled and just, you know, did some affirmations and gratitude in my head. I actually did like a heart brain coherence meditation without following one. I just kind of thought about gratitude and like what I'm grateful for. And honestly, it made a shift. It made a shift. It wasn't like a huge thing. Like I said, I had a virus last week, so I feel like I'm feeling the effects of it a little bit more than the last couple of days now that it's gone. So I'm practicing this stuff as like a way to nurture my body. Because, guys, again, self-care is not waking up, putting on Netflix, doing nothing, and being like, I'll get to it when I feel a little bit better. Self-care is still doing the healing work. It's doing it in a different way. It's maybe prioritizing it a little bit more. It actually could mean, for me, when I'm a little bit more in it, as we say, I may do like a midday, and I think we did it on the call maybe last week or the week before, the meta self-love meditation. Like I'll do that midday. I'm just like, yo, I'm a little bit more symptomatic. I'm just gonna take this 10 minutes, this 15 minutes to just set aside to do that. And then I'm gonna go for this long, slow walk and just be present with the walk. Josh does this too, where he'll leave his phone away when he goes and takes a walk. Because like even if you have your phone on you, sometimes you'll be checking it. Sometimes it's nice to just be present, be out in nature, go for that walk. This is self-care, guys. This is rest. Rest is not laying in bed. Sure, that can be part of your day. If you're really in it, if you're really struggling, if this is the beginning of your journey, that can be part of your day. But that cannot be all of your day, and that cannot be what actually allows you to heal. Last thing, and I'll throw it over to Josh, and then we'll kind of do a little bit of announcements and hear from you. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, the radical rest that is spouted off in some of these programs, or when people talk about healing from things like chronic fatigue syndrome and Lyme disease, and like, no, you just got to rest, you got to chill, you got to rest, and it doesn't work. That has never healed anyone. You need to rest from this brain more than you need to just sit still. And part of resting from this brain is getting into healthy activities that distract you from this brain, that help you in healing. Some of those things can be, I'm putting on a funny movie and actually enjoying myself. Some of those things can be doing a crossword puzzle or painting, or things like that, knitting, whatever. But it needs to be things that get you out of this brain that's spinning, thinking, oh my God, my symptoms are so bad today. Oh my God, what if this happens? Oh my God, I can't believe that 2 years ago I was so sick and I'm still kind of sick right now. That's not rest. That's actually that's more fatigue. That's causing more issues.
Right.
Sometimes the biggest thing that I can do for rest is when I notice I'm in my head, we're going for a walk. I'm putting on some relaxing music and I'm going for a long walk. That's rest and self-care for me as well. So redefine rest, guys. As you're going on this journey, rest cannot look like the rest that you had when you were chronically ill. We're moving in the direction of health. Part of it can still be chilling, because as we're healing, there are going to be times, but some of it still needs to be doing the healing work from a place of self-care and self-love. That's what's actually going to help you heal, guys.
Right.
So
Right
yeah,
on.
I'll throw it over to Josh. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. And I want to elaborate because Joe touched on this. Yes, if you get a virus, guys, if you get
Yeah.
COVID, if you get the flu, obviously lay in bed and rest. Like, if you're running a fever, that is a time that your body needs the rest. We're referring more to the radical rest movement, where I have chronic fatigue syndrome or whatever, and you just need to lay
Yeah.
in bed all day. That's just never going to hurt you, and it's actually going to do more harm.
And
Uh,
actually, I want to say, Becky asked, because I just had a virus. Did I still go out when I had a virus? I did. Yeah. My routine looked exactly the same. I wasn't running a fever or anything like that. Um, and I did practice a lot more slow self-care. So I just wanted to say that.
but if
Sorry.
Joe had a
Go ahead.
fever, and I know, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously he's gonna get in bed. Like,
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
to kind of use our own discernment here, guys, and
Yeah.
it's obviously not medical advice, but for me, it's kind of, I'm piggybacking off what Joe says, but I want to ask you the question, and it's I'm not even asking you a question. I'm kind of telling why what you do on the ha hard days matters the most. So this is exactly the second part of it. So Joe told you what we need to do on the hard days, and I'm going to kind of go into why it matters so much that you're consistent on these days. And we should never look at the work as work. That's self-care. Like, all the stuff that we tell you guys to do is absolutely self-care. And I'm going to go out on a whim here, and you guys can hit me with a bucket. It's okay. But I would be willing to bet that the large majority of you guys are not consistent with the work consistently. Um, you know that I just lost that. Okay, that's fine, Jason. You start to notice the trends when people do the work consistently, guys. And this is your biggest leaps in healing will come when you're really struggling, when those hard days hit, and it might be a hard month. But if you stay consistent through that month, when you come out of that flare, the leaps that you guys make are huge. So when you're in a,
Yeah.
a, a flare, or symptoms are flaring, your energy's drained, your mind's overwhelmed, it's easy to slip into survival mode. And we know that. So the temptation to like completely ditch the routine and disappear under the covers, scroll on our phone, binge TV all day, is strong. And honestly, we get it. Like, hold on, Jason, I'll get you in. Everybody needs a down day now and then. Like, and I believe that, I believe there's 7 days. I always try to take one day to rest, but it's because I get out. Like this weekend, I mean, I drove to Tennessee. I was go, 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 go. Today, I mean, Joe and I had a pretty busy healing dudes day, but tomorrow I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna take a day of rest, and that doesn't mean that I don't get out and do the things I'm going to, but I might sit around a little bit mu much. Joe can tell you, like, we were on a phone for, or we were recording for about an hour and 30 minutes, and I stand up and I start doing toe raises because I don't want to sit still anymore.
Yeah.
Because being stagnant, guys, is the opposite of what you need for your healing.
Yeah.
But the down days, guys, every now and then, we're not going to hammer you, but it's being consistent.
Yeah.
So the science part of it, what you choose to do on the hard days is what regulates your system in the long run. That's the truth. Healing isn't about perfection, guys. We don't want you to reach this level of perfection, like, oh, I've done my DRNS rounds and I've done the... No, that's not, it's not about being perfect. It's about finding a routine that fits for your lifestyle. Being trying to be perfect is actually going to hammer you down and make you worse. Um, you know, I say this again, guys, and I've seen it so much in my story, and I just got done telling my story. I look back at my timeline, and it was the days that I was really, really struggling that I decided to continue and to go on that really, really made the biggest difference in my journey. Um, so like I said, healing isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. On those days where you feel like I just can't do X, Y, or Z, you can always take a small walk, a small walk. You can always meditate. You can always practice gratitude. You can always do these things because guess what? We all grab our phones every single day. And if you're choosing that over doing what's actually healing for you on those hard days, you're hindering your healing, guys. And that's tough. We know that consistency when there's adversity and the waves are hitting is really, really, really hard. The big part of this is the nervous system needs predictability. Like whenever it's all over the place and it's out of rhythm, guys, you're going to be spazzed, you're going to be fried. So our nervous system thrives on rhythm, safety, and familiarity. And we do that by creating a safe environment, by doing everything that Joe and I talk about that's in the guide. That is what sets the standard and the foundation to heal, even on the tough days, guys. So when we maintain even the small parts of our routine, light movement, morning sunlight, journaling, breath work, whatever it is, or even a quick walk outside, we signal to our brain that we're safe. Like that all this stuff might be going on. And so I talked about my life began to change when I surrendered and I accepted that alarm that's going off all the time, those symptoms, that it can stand down. Like those symptoms might be there, but I'm going to gently go with them. I'm no longer going to allow them to dictate my days. So if I'm in a flare day, I'm not going to make a big deal about it being a flare day because then, it becomes overwhelming to your nervous system. Um, so when we stop everything and fall into passive coping, like doom scrolling, and this is Joe and I talked about this before the call. So normally when we have a flare day, what do? We isolate, right? And then we sit on the couch or the bed and we doom scroll, we get on TV, whatever your thing is. All right. And when that happens, we disrupt those safety signals and we reintroduce a fear-based state because we're trying to cope. Guys, when I say that the nervous system needs predictability, like when we go from one day doing the routine when things are easy, and here's the thing, guys, to do the self-care work, and we'll call it self-care work just for today. Doing self-care work is easy when you're breezing through or when you're mildly symptomatic. When you're struggling to get out of bed, that's when it's hard. But the predictability, we talk about in the beginning, and Joe, we talked about it last class. 30 to 45 days is what you need to create routines, to create healthy routines, to where you get up and it's just like you do it anyways. Like the first thing, like you've been in bed all day and you feel nasty. If you had an illness, what do you want to do? You want to get in the shower. You want to cleanse yourself, guys. It's kind of the same thing. This is all self-care stuff that we're teaching. So even on the hard days, we don't want you guys to feel like it's work. We don't ever want you guys to feel like it's work. And we don't ever want fear associated with walking or with whatever, because you can always modify what you're doing, guys, to fit the state that you're at now. It's not like, all right, hey, day one, I'm bedbound. Joe and Josh want me to walk a mile in the morning, mile at night, meditate for 20 minutes a night. Like modify what you need to till you get to a place where you feel safe. and do it that way. If you try to do everything at once and become overwhelmed, you're creating fear. So just understand that. Joe and I are big, huge opponents against radical rest, and it sounds appealing sometimes. Dude, Joe's struggling today. He might not say it, but like the fatigue hit. Like he's
Yeah.
still dealing with maybe the remnants of a virus or whatnot. So
Sure. Yeah.
radical rest might sound appealing, but when it comes to chronic disconnection from life, it can completely wipe you out. There's a guy named Dr. Stephen Porges. He's the creator of and I'm sure I probably butchered his name. He's the creator of the polyvagal theory. He reminds us that
Mom
ventral,
knows him really well, by the way.
yeah,
Joe tell you all about.
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember him saying it at the last call. So ventral vagal activation, feeling safe, connected, and engaged is essential for healing. So if we don't feel safe when we're having those flare days, what do you think happens, guys? That doesn't
Yeah.
mean we push through the pain. Joe and I say this over and over and over again, and that's the first thing. It sounds like you guys are trying to get us to push. We do not want anybody pushing. It means choosing intentional engagement, a slow, gentle walk, one foot in front of the other in nature is huge. A warm conversation with a friend. We don't have to talk about the illness. I mean, many of the times Joe and I get on the phone, we don't even talk about being ill. Like you just have a warm conversation about whatever that's outside of your illness. Sorry, my dog's headbutting the door. Um, or even 5 minutes of just guided meditation. Maybe you don't feel like you're in a place where you can sit and do a full 20 minutes of meditation. And I personally believe, at least for me, I always will, but maybe you're in a really, really dysregulated state. There's quick 5 minute meditations that can help pull you out and build some resilience. Um, so I just want to remind you what you do when it's hard builds your baseline, guys. And that's what we're trying to establish as a new healthy baseline. So the work we do, the regulation tools, the mindset shifts, the nourishing food that we talk about eating, the connection with community, it isn't just for good days. It's training them for the storm. So when the waves. So that's why the consistency is so important. Like that, it's not like, oh, I'm having a great day. Let me just forget all the tools. No, it's an every single day, morning, night, morning, night, morning, night, morning, night thing. And it's not overwhelming at all unless you tell yourself that it is. It's just like an athlete, and I'm in this realm a lot. It's just like an athlete conditions for a game. Our routines are what help hold us up for when the flare hits, just like an athlete. What I have my guys do is for you guys that are familiar with basketball, free throws win and lose basketball games. And I lost my mind. I kicked a chair during a game. I got a technical. Totally out of personality, but we missed a pair of free throws, which are huge. They're free, but we also missed a layup. Now, at the end of practice, we do extra work. Like we'll run sprints, and then when they're tired, we shoot the free throws because it's when we're tired at the end of the game making those free throws is what matters. In the very same sense, all right, when we're tired, when we're worn out, doing the routine, doing the self-love thing, and guys, shooting free throws isn't hard, but when
Yeah.
you're worn out, like it can be difficult to keep things straight. It's the very same thing, guys. We need to make sure that we're doing it. The more we show up, even imperfectly, guys, the idea that we have to do everything perfect, you need to shed that idea. The more that we show up, even imperfectly, the more that we build capacity. And here's the thing, most people who are truly healing aren't stacking bad days back to back. It's the thing, after you get out of probably like 3, 6 months, like you might have a really, really bad day where it's just like everything's down. But what I've realized is we have the capability to be able to pull out. You still might be flaring, but the bad day, like where you're just mentally anguished and you're in it, if you're having that, there's a lot of healing that has to happen up here. It's not the actual infection that you're dealing with at that point, guys. Symptomatically, yes, that might be there, but I've had bad symptomatic days where I can still say this was a good day. This
Yeah.
was absolutely a good day. Joe, I don't know if you've had those where like you're
Yeah.
not
Many.
symptomatic,
Yeah.
but it's like, today was a
Yeah.
good day. I don't have to use my AK. Like they're great days. All right. So, um, so it's about honoring the hard moments while still doing the work. Something, dude, I've had days where I stand up and I'll do a couple yoga poses and I sit back down and that's it. A breath, a glass of clean water, a moment of stillness without a screen. Guys, these are all wins. We stack those. But when we're grabbing our phone, when we're scrolling through Netflix, when we're in these support groups, when we're in these flare days, and that's what we're consistent of. And I know a lot of you guys might struggle with this because I did back in the day. Oh, it's a crap day. I might as well just go eat the cheesecake. No, don't go eat the cheesecake, guys. Like I used to struggle with that. Like I used to go straight for the freezer and I would grab the so delicious ice cream, but which is great. And now they got crap in their ingredients, but I wouldn't just have a scoop. I'd eat the whole container because I'm in my feelings and emotions. And that's when you're looking for something to hold on to, guys. Don't go to your phone. Don't go to the forums. Don't go to food. Guys, go to the community, go to the routine, do these things, engage in it with consistency, and watch as it changes. So
Yeah.
the last part of this, is understanding that I wasn't going to the cheesecake until you said, healing isn't passive, guys. It's not a passive thing. Healing isn't just something that's going to magically come to you. It's engaged. It's choosing to stay in the game, even gently and slowly. We use the Rocky metaphor a lot. Like, if you guys haven't watched Rocky, you suck. And I'm not
Yeah.
taking that back. If you go through all the movies, there's just a period of him just getting pounded in the face just brutally over and over. And it's an 80s movie, so it's very dramatic. And he just keeps punched and punched and punched. And he keeps getting up and he keeps getting up and he keeps getting up. And a lot of the time, that's what this journey feels like. We're not gonna see. Yeah, the Creed series is very, very good. I like it. I like the original Rocky movies better, just because I lived in Philly. I mean, I'm not a Philadelphia fan, but I lived in Philly for a while. But
Yeah.
cool side story. So when he fought Tommy Gunn, the private school that I went to, we actually got to see when they were filming over there, like the fight scene and stuff like that. It was cool. Anyways, if you guys don't know about it, I mean, I apologize. Go watch that Rocky. But it is the frustration that Joe and I share is a lot of you guys have done a lot of other nervous system regulation programs, and one of the guys we vibe with the most is Helmet, and he calls him out. Like I love it. We were doing a video with him the other day, and he calls him out by name: DNRS, Primal Trust, whatever. Jason, shame on you, dude. Um,
No, he's saying if you've never.
oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
he's sitting here talking about it, and one of the frustrations of things that we deal with is people come in, one, they think they have to do it all perfect, and the other thing is they think because all these people appear to be so healed and it seems so gentle and so easy that it's an easy road. And when these tough days hit, when you get punched in the face, when you have a flare day, like, man, why is this so Josh and Joe didn't prepare me for this? Yes, the same guide and the same work that applies for you on the good days applies on the bad days, and it's very gentle. It's a very
Yeah.
gentle approach, guys. So when the hard days come, you'll ask yourself one thing. What's one thing I can do today to remind my body that it's safe to heal? What is one thing today that I can do to remind my body that it's self to heal, to calm the alarms down? Because when we wake up and we have these symptoms, what do we first do? We start freaking out. And I do it too. Like I've done it. I've reached out to Joe, but like, bro, listen, neuropathy, DP, whatever, I have this going on. And I have to hit the pause button, guys, because once the alarm stopped going, it's hard to put the fire out. It's really, really difficult to put the fire out. And that's why, like, we do this upon waking. Like, don't wake, don't grab your phone. Like, take your thoughts captive first thing in the morning, and it gets easier on those flare times. So, think, what's one thing I can do today to remind my body that it's safe to heal? If you can walk, remind yourself that
Yep.
you're capable of walking. There's people in this class that weren't walking and now there's walking. There's people that weren't working and now there's working. There's people that are traveling that weren't traveling. So remind yourselves of these things and then do it. That's the real work, guys, but we do it gently. And that's how you get your life back. And so much of getting your life back, and I'll close with this, guys, revolves around what we do on those flare days. It's
Yeah.
not the easy days. It's not, yes, we want to stack those days. Stacking the hard days. Like you ask anybody that's done anything consistently and been successful, the investors, it's the ones that are successful, like right now the market's down. The ones that will yield benefit are the ones that are investing in the low times, trusting and believing in being patient. And that's it. Bodybuilders, you're sore, you go to the gym, it's hard. I don't want to go to the gym. I'm so sore. You go and you lift, and that's when you yield the benefits. It's not when you go out and you feel fresh in your body and all that. And in the same way with this, guys, it's the days that you don't feel like picking up the guide. It's the days that you don't feel like engaging in the community that you absolutely need to show up. And you need to stop referring to the things as hard. Get up out of your bed. This is where I love the Mel Robbins thing. You're stuck in bed, you're on your phone. And we've all been there. You get up, it might be 7 o'clock, maybe you didn't sleep the night before. Now it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it's 1 o'clock. I've done that. I've been there. And maybe that's not you, and maybe I'm alone in this. But eventually what I would do is I got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm getting up. I go in, I take a
Yeah.
shower, I come in here, I put my headphones in, otherwise my kids are going to bang my door down, and I start to meditate. And then I do some restorative yoga poses and I get right into Qigong. And then generally I go for my walk. And that's it. It's habitual, guys. And I'll never see it as work. And even on my hard days, I still do it, but I have to modify. So understand, guys, that the whole purpose of a routine is to create a safe environment that's familiar and predictable for our nervous system. When we're healing, unpredictability, like body scanning, frantic thoughts, all this stuff, it throws us through a loop. It makes us work and it gets harder to pull out. So create that environment of predictability for your nervous system where you get up and you're doing the same things over and over and over and over. And the living your life part, you can change that up. But it's not like you're never going to make brushing your teeth exciting. But here's the thing. You can make guided visualization exciting. You can think about whatever you want to. Guys, there's never a morning that I'm like, man, I wish I didn't do Qigong. Or there's
Yeah.
that I wish I didn't do my I always feel better afterwards. And I wasn't a walker. I hated walking. But now I love my walks. Like I absolutely love going on walks, guys. So
Mm.
that's it. To be consistent on the hard days and to keep showing up so that we create safety in our body. We create an environment that is predictable for our nervous system. And those are the days where you're going to see a lot of healing, guys. But if
Mhm.
I could say one word 10 times, it's going to be consistency. Consistency on the hard days, consistency when you fight with your spouse or girlfriend, consistency when you're going through a breakup, consistency when you're sick with a bug, consistency, consistency, consistency. Last point, I promise. You can be consistent 6 days, morning, night, morning, night, morning, night, morning, night. And on the 17th day, you decide that, hey, I'm just going to chill. I'm not going to do this stuff. And that is enough to disrupt that pattern of predictability to the 18th day. Now you're not doing it. The 19th, you're completely out of it. And now you got to start over. Be consistent for 30 to 40 days and watch how much changes and do it on the tough days, guys.